A desert in the Netherlands? Yes, it's true. In the Netherlands we have a few areas with shifting sands. And today we are in an area that is known as Kootwijker zand. The whole area is basically sandy dunes, as you can see. It's pretty unique, and there's a few species of unique butterflies, moths, insects and wildlife here that I can show you today. Such as the Greyling butterfly, Hipparchia semele. They camouflage themselves here on the sand. Let's get started. Hello everyone, this is Bart Coppens and welcome to another outdoor adventure. Believe it or not, but today I'm sleeping in a tent very close to a natural reserve that I want to show you. Usually this place is a little bit too far away from my home, so I was never able to travel here casually for one video. But thanks to one sponsor, you may know him by the name Rob, who has paid for my lodging here tonight. We are able to travel here and sleep in a tent for one night to make a video in nature. Let's get started. Even alle stinkkanten filmen. Oké, focus. As you can see, ladies and gentlemen, it is a little bit of a fancy tent, because we even have two beds here. Now, who is we? Who is we? Well, I'm here with a friend, my friend Owen, but Owen is not interested in being on camera on YouTube, so I respect his privacy. Anyway, let me show you some of the interior here. There's two beds. This bed here is mine, and if we turn it around, yeah, here we even have some luxury stuff like a fridge. We have already put some food in it. So basically tonight I'm going to spend the night here in this little tent in nature and get up to tomorrow early in the morning and hopefully see some cool animals / wildlife. It's currently very late in August. This is one of the last weeks of summer. I think we have 3 or 4 weeks of summer left, and then temperatures will go down and autumn will slowly start coming. So I'm glad to end the outdoor season with a special video. So before we start the video, I must really thank my superfan and top sponsor Rob. Rob paid for this hut. The expenses, all the money I spent on making this video and the travel costs were paid for by Rob. So let's take a moment to thank him for his support and sponsorship. Rob, if you're watching this, thank you. This is thanks to you. Let's get started. Now, our tent is a bit of a tent near a fancy outdoor camping, near a natural reserve. We are in the area of Hoenderloo in the Netherlands, and very close to this place are fields of heather, but also sandy soils and dunes. We are very far away from the ocean, but despite that the Netherlands has some desert-like areas with shifting sands. So that's where we're going to take a look tomorrow. And we're also going to walk through some forest and some fields of heather if we can. Now, if I turn the camera around, I think most of you will see that here behind me there is already a lot of nature, a lot of forest. Don't know if you guys can see it. See? Forest. And here behind us is our tent. It is a fancy camping. I think they call it a glamping. It's like a camping, but a little bit more expensive. And so you have more personal space and more facilities. But yeah, essentially it's a tent with 2 beds in it. And as you can see here in the back, there's more tents as well. Anyway, my main reason for coming here is to make a nice educational video for you about nature, about the environment in the Netherlands. And yeah, sometimes that requires traveling. A lot of areas in my country are too far away from my home for me to make a video in casually and then go back home. It's too much traveling for a one-day filming operation. So having a place to sleep in nature really helps with the production of my videos. So that's where we are. See? It's kind of funny, isn't it? Being a YouTuber is a weird job, but this is my work. I hope you'll enjoy it. Alright people, let's get started. First, I probably have to get some supplies, because I don't even have anything to eat or drink. So I'll have to go to the supermarket, but that's fine. The real hike through nature starts tomorrow. I'm just making preparations today, I hope you don't mind.
Bart leert ontknopen.
There you go. Ladies and gentlemen, the landscape behind me is looking rather purple today, isn't it? That's because of one small but ubiquitous little plant here in the landscape. Heather. This is heather, and in my country, heather or Calluna vulgaris starts blooming late in the year. People often think that the season of flowers is spring. It's true for many species, but not for heather. Heather starts blooming at the very last weeks of summer. And it turns the landscape beautifully purple. And if you look on it, you can see a lot of pollinators, like bees, bumblebees, wasps, butterflies, moths. It's perfect. Oh, er komen mensen.
Yeah, boring. Yeah, it's boring.
Yeah. Why?
It's boring. It's like an hour of doing exercise. It's
Wow, ladies and gentlemen. Now these fields of heather attract a lot of pollinators. Flies, bees, wasps, moths, butterflies. But these pollinators on their own have their own predators, which are in turn attracted by the abundance of these pollinators. And here we see something really special. The wasp spider. Argiope brunnici. Argiope brunnici, the wasp spider, is a species of orb-web spider distributed through Central Europe, Northern Europe, North Africa and parts of Asia. This spider is somewhat new in the Netherlands. They are from the southern and warmer regions of Europe, but due to climate change, their range is shifting northwards. The first spider was discovered in my country, the Netherlands, in 1980. But today they are all over the country. The climate has warmed up for them enough to survive here now. Interestingly, the males of this species are incredibly small and brown. But I didn't see any males today. What you're looking at right now are the brightly colored female specimens of the spider. The spiders seem to have made a web above the bushes of the heather that were drawing in many pollinators. Its web was richly filled with bees and flies that appeared to be snacking on. It's said that this species has a nasty bite. Despite that, they are quite harmless if you do not bother them at all. So don't bother them. They are beautiful and beneficial spiders that keep pests in check. They eat a lot of flies and wasps and bees. Spectrophotometer measurements suggest that the bright yellow bands on the spider's abdomen are visible to insect prey, but not the banding on the legs, which could disguise the spider's outline. Thus, the results provide strong support for the hypothesis that bright coloration in the wasp spider acts as a visual lure for insect prey. A lot of people assume that the wasp spider has bright colors in order to scare away predators by mimicking the color patterns of wasps. But in reality, it's a much more complex story. Bright coloration could lure insect prey to the web vicinity, increasing the spider's foraging success. Their black and white stripes are not just an anti-predator adaptation, but it also helps them hunt for prey. This is a pretty big spider in the Netherlands, and what's interesting is they are new in my country. This is a species that came from more southern locations in southern Europe, around the Mediterranean. But because the climate in Europe has been warming recently, the Netherlands has become more suitable for them to live in, and they've shifted their range way north up until my country. Alright people, here in the grass I just spotted one of the favorite butterflies of my country. Don't worry, it's a common species. Nonetheless, it's one of my favorite. It's bright orange and it's called the small copper Lycaena phleas. And every time I see them, my heart just beats faster. This is why I'm single as well. Let me show you the close-up. Now here is an incredible butterfly, wow! This is the common copper, or Lycaena phleas. The bright orange on this butterfly is unlike any other butterfly species. It is almost iridescent and fiery orange. In Dutch, for that reason, we call it the kleine vuurvlinder, which means the small fire butterfly. An appropriate name, considering they are as bright as fire. It is widespread and common across Europe, Asia, North America, and also found in North Africa. If you ever visit the Netherlands in late spring or late summer, there is a good chance that you can see them. It is found in a wide variety range of habitats, from chalk downlands, heathland, woodland clearings to churchyards and waste ground in cities, and also grasslands and bogs. Their host plants are many species of dock and sorrels from the genus of Rumex. I should try to breed this species sometime in the future, who knows? They're easy to breed. I just got really excited because I saw a really cool spider, guys. This is why I'm single. Here, let me show you. Close up. Araneus quadratus, the four-spot orb weaver, is a common orb weaver spider found in Europe and Central Asia. They are quite variable in their appearance, ranging from brown to bright orange or green, but they always have the characteristical They are quite variable in their appearance, ranging from brown to bright orange or green, but they always have the characteristic 4 white spots on the abdomen. This species builds its web close to the ground to catch jumping spiders and small grasshoppers. The female builds the more elaborate web, complete with a funnel-shaped retreat off to the side where she goes during inclement weather. The web is smaller and closer to the ground than those of other spiders or weaver spiders. Sorry for the fact that I struggled with the language for a moment. I'm not a native English speaker. Sometimes I just jumble my words. The red admiral is here too, of course. I think I found a red admiral this year in almost every outdoor video I made. So common.
Oh ja. Het zal ook wel weer eens niet. Ik hoopte het.
Guess what, ladies and gentlemen? I found another one, and this one is even bigger. Ooh. That's a big spider. And just like the other spider I found, this one has managed to make his web directly above the heather. I think this could be a strategical move, because this is what attracts all the bees that the spiders like to eat. Good place to make a web, if you ask me. Wow. If you ask me, this species is really beautiful. It's one of my favorite spiders that you can see around here. The black and yellow and white markings are really intense. And they seem to be variable as well. Like each spider that you'll find has slightly different markings. And just to show you how big this one is, let me try. Oh, I can't get my hand around this web. Let me put my finger as close as I'm willing to put it, because I'm kind of afraid of being bitten. But yeah, for my country, the Netherlands, this classifies as a big spider. Cool, huh? This is the speckled wood, or Argiope aigeria. We've seen this species so many times on my channel. A grass feeder and common in many parts of the Netherlands. In this occasion they seem to love feeding on the nectar flowers of the heather. I am not a beetle expert, sorry guys, but I believe this is Stictoleptura rubra, the red-brown longhorn beetle. Life cycle of this species lasts 2 to 3 years. Wow! Adults can be encountered from May to September, but mainly in July and August. They visit flowering plants for nectar or pollen, while larvae develop and feed within dead wood and tree stumps of coniferous trees in particular, such as spruce, spar, pine tree, etc. To develop and reach maturity, they need nutrients provided by fungi. Their gut contains cellulase-producing yeast to enable xylophagy or wood digestion. So we arrived here relatively late and already it's getting a little bit dark. So one of the things we have to do is go through the supermarket, yeah, to secure some food for tonight at least. Yeah, supermarket time. Alright, so this is a busy road through the forest, alright. I know this is not much nature, but I really have to get some food, man.
This is hoor dat ook, ja.
Dan kan je beter bij die andere wind kijken. Ja, door binnen. Ja, ik ga nu
Dat zou
binnen
erg vervelend zijn.
Ik kan een foto maken.
And going back through the forest. Here in the distance is my friend Owen. He is not interested in being on YouTube, so there's no chance that we're going to interview or show him, but that's fine, he helps me behind the scenes. This is Celastrina argiolis, or the holly blue butterfly. They are very pale, almost violet blue, while the underside of their wings is silver. The species is rather common. Found in North America, Central America, Eurasia and South Asia, these butterflies have a large geographical range. So there is a good chance many of my viewers may have seen one at some point. This butterfly is found in many types of different habitats, including gardens, churchyards, woodland, parks, and anywhere near its food plants and nectar sources. The primary larval food plants are holly or ilex and ivy or hedera, brambles or rubus, buckthorns or Frangus angula, dogwood or Cornus sanguinea, gorse or Ulex europaeus, snowberries or Symphoricarpos, and spindle or Euonymus europaeus are some of the plants they are used. As you can see, it's a very polyphagous butterfly, and that allows it to survive in a variety of environments. There are typically 2 broods per year, although this varies, with some northern sites producing a single brood and some southern sites managing to produce a 3rd brood in favorable years. But overall, most of the time there are 2 broods. Adults from overwintering pupa emerge as early as the first week of April in a typical year, with the next generation emerging at the end of July and early August.
I have to say, ladies and gentlemen, the heather is looking absolutely incredible today. This is something you only see 1 time per year. And it looks like we visited just in the right season.
Maar dat is 10 maanden werk hoor, mensen dat ze niet allemaal doen.
Sterk? Ja. Nog wel. Gewoon opkijken in de video.
Alright people, guess what we have here. Da-da-da-da-da. Just some stuff for the barbecue, why not? Set it here. Okay. Corn and more stuff. Ja, heel goed.
Dit is voor de cringe compilatie.
Oh fuck. Zo.
Waarom doe je dit? Shanky?
Wie tekst zit nu in de vlog? Doe maar dicht.
Dit is de
Volgens mij branden gewoon op volgens mij.
Dat klopt. Het is een flink.
Sorry vegetarians, but I'm having meat today. This is Greek souvlaki. And it's a popular Greek fast food considering of small pieces of meat and sometimes vegetables grilled on a skewer. It's usually eaten straight off the skewer while still hot and it's very tasty. Now earlier this year I made a pledge to eat less meat and I still follow that pledge, but I'm not 100% vegetarian. So on special occasions like this I will still eat meat. And here we have Pangasius fish fillet. It's a type of catfish from Asia. Before packing the fish in aluminium foil, I decided to add a lot of garlic so it can steam in the garlic juices. Bart Coppens cooking vlog, you say? Sure, why not?
Over barbecue en peper, hè?
Yeah, my channel is usually about insects, but we can have some cool and extra crazy stuff in the outdoor videos. First Bart Coppens barbecue vlog. Hell yeah.
Er is voor betaald, hè? En die gast die wil gewoon alles zien wat we doen. Ja. Kijken.
Oké. Is goed. Dan kan er straks weer even wat nieuws op. Alright, so this is Greek souvlaki. You see, guys? The result is pretty good, man. Oké, kan je er dichterbij inschijnen? Ik pak hem wel, zorg dat de lam niet gaat barbecuen.
Moet ik hem niet vasthouden? Oké.
Ja, is goed zo.
Pak je vis maar, bro. Ja, maar waar het... Ja, die komt nog wel. Eerst even vreten. Die aardappels... Ja, maar die aardappel ligt nu op iets...
Look at that, ladies and gentlemen. Fish fillet with garlic. Made on the barbecue. Even if I say so myself, it tastes pretty good, man.
Nou, sinds wanneer zeg je man achterhoofd?
And this here is some salmon. Most people put the slices of salmon on the fish after grilling it, but I do it before grilling it, and it makes the fish much more tender. Then again, I am not Gordon Ramsay, okay, so take my terrible cooking advice with a grain of salt. My expertise is insects, definitely not cooking. Just add some lemon, garlic and wrap it in foil and throw it on the grill. And it's perfect though.
Peper en zout bij. Dat past er wel bij. Geen zorgen. Jawel. Dat was heel zorgwekkend. Zo. Dit eraf. Okay. Ja. Nu. Zo, hier. Hier. Ja? Doe je dat nooit? Even kijken. Oei, is gelukt. Oh, nice. Wauw. Dit is perfect. Dit kunnen we eten, bro. Dit is oprecht heel goed. Pak je bord. Jouw bord. De geur.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, let's try this salmon. I know it looks awkward filming this at night, but wow, this one's really good. Eat your vegetables, Bart. That's what my mom used to say all the time. Well, here you go, Mom. I hope you appreciate the fact that we are grilling some of those as well. Vegetable barbecue, oh yeah. Sweet potato is pretty good as well, whenever it's barbecued. A recommendation.
Nee, nog niet. Kijk, 8 uur. Doe je daar gewoon de helft op, ja? Ja. En de andere helft. Oh, je moet ze nog pellen. Dat niet. Ja? Dat niet. Dat niet. Dat is goed dus. En deze al gepeld. En met staartjes. Dat is niet erg. Die hoeft er niet eraf. Die eet je toch niet meer. Ja, ik ruiken wel lekker. Deze zijn 100% gepeld. Ja, prik dat lek, gast. Nee, want dan ziet het de barbecue van de cola. Dat niet, dan wordt het een sauna. Hoeveel moet je hebben dan? Ja, ik weet niet wat ongeveer de helft. Dat er maar een beetje erbij moet. Ja.
I made some shrimp as well. With garlic, of course, because I'm addicted to garlic. Wrapped in tin foil. Shrimp tastes pretty good on the barbecue as well. Give it a try.
This is Bart Coppens in the night barbecue show.
Don't worry, this is really a video about nature, okay? Just wait. As the night went on, we were having some fun and eating food. It's important if you walk a lot in nature that you are well fed, of course. But in the end of the day, we are still here to show you nature. So let's move on to the nature part of the video. Before you guys become too hungry because of my content, let's explore the local environment at night. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Bart Coppens in the forest at night. Believe it or not, it's completely dark. And me and my friend are going to do some exploring. See if we see anything in the forest. If we do, it's going to be hard to film though. But we'll give it a try. Alright people, so we're exploring the forest at night. And I already found one rarity. Let me show you what I found. It's pretty cool and it's the first time I've seen one. Wow! The natterjack toad, or Epidalea calamita, is a toad native to sandy and heathland areas of Europe. They are easy to tell apart from common toads because they have a yellow line that runs over their backs. The natterjack toad spawns between the end of April and July, laying strings of eggs in shallow and warm pools. Because the natterjack toad is often present in low numbers, its loud mating calls are important so that the sexes can find each other. For natterjacks, pools need to have a very slight slope with sparse vegetation on the banks and in the water. As such pools are often temporary, sometimes the tadpoles die when the pool dries out. The natterjack compensates for that risk by mating over an extended period each summer. Thus, in September, the age of juveniles can vary from 1 to 3 months. The species can even breed in brackish water near the ocean, in vernal pools in the dunes, in temporary puddles, and prefers areas that are in the primary stages of succession, preferring to breed in pools that have no fish and other predators in them, colonizing newly formed pools in sandy areas before other animals do. Me and my friend saw many wild boar this night. In fact, we were utterly surrounded by them. But sadly I'm unable to show you, since my camera is not good enough to film them in these dark conditions. That sucks. Let me show you what we have. Ja, daar. De camera ziet niks. Kijk, kijk. Wauw. De camera ziet geen fuck natuurlijk, dat is jammer. Maar wij... So, this video content is not good enough to enjoy. I'm sorry. I really wish I had a camera that was able to film the wild boar at night, because they are fascinating and awesome creatures. They also had a lot of babies, but my camera is just too bad at filming in the dark. So, while the experience was awesome in real life, I cannot share it with my fans on YouTube sadly. But what I can offer is some sounds and some audio as proof for the boar encounters. Something that I can offer as proof is audio, so let's have a listen right now. You can clearly hear the wild boar grunting in our vicinity. Listen to this. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight in the forest, me and my friend had several close encounters with wild boar. Unfortunately, my YouTube equipment is not adequate enough to film them. I have a lamp that they can use. But the light scares them away so fast. And it also seems that this camera is not able to film in the darkness properly enough to film in such a small beam of light. However, one thing that I would like to do is perhaps come back to this place another time and bring really bright lights. Like, think about like a spotlight, a very, very, very strong light. And if we did that, I'm confident we would be able to make close-ups of wild boar. Because there's so many of them in this area, it's incredible. Good news though, is we do have audio, we have sound, we have them recorded. Here, listen to it. Neem het op. Hij loopt op de weg. Hij loopt op het pad. Ja. Hij gaat er gelijk vandoor als hij ons ziet. Zeg je dat zwarte ding dat was? Hij loopt nog op het pad. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I am back into our tent. It was a very eventful night. We saw many wild boars. It was incredible. But unfortunately I found out that my filming equipment is not adequate to film wild boar. They're very difficult to film. They hide in the darkness, in the shadows. And I think I need to return to this place sometime with a bright light. And if I had that, I think I would be able to make really good close-ups of wild boar in this region. But that's for a future episode. This video is about something else. It's about the hike that we're about to do tomorrow. So for that we have to go to sleep. I'm here in my tent at night, about to go to sleep. So I want to say, ladies and gentlemen, good night, see you tomorrow. That's when the real content starts. This is my bed. I mean, it is a nice little tent, isn't it? This is my friend Owen's bed. Owen doesn't want to be on YouTube. I think he's shy, but that's fine. Oof. So here we have it is a nice little tent, isn't it? Here is my bed. And here is Owen's bed. My friend Owen is with me today, but he is not interested in being on YouTube. And we have to respect that fact. Here, as you can see, he has his audio recorder. With this, Owen can make audio recordings, like sounds. And it helps improve the quality of my videos. So thank you, Owen. I know you don't want to be on YouTube, but you're helping me. And I appreciate that. Good morning, everyone.
Dat is stoel.
Look at this old man trying to wake up and having his morning coffee. Wow, what's this? I guess fairies are real after all. I found this in the forest. People have a weird sense of humor, man.
Klimmen. Kootwijkerzand is het gewoon. Kootwijkerzand.
A desert in the Netherlands? Yes, it's true. In the Netherlands we have a few areas with shifting sands. And today we are in an area that is known as Kootwijkerzand. The whole area is basically sandy dunes, as you can see. It's pretty unique, and there's a few species of unique butterflies, moths, insects and wildlife here that I can show you today. Such as the Greyling butterfly, Hipparchia semele. They camouflage themselves here on the sand. Let's get started. Now here is a rare butterfly that I don't see very often. That's because this species is essentially restricted to places with sandy and dry soils. They prefer almost desert-like environments. It's also evident their camouflage really works the best in these kind of environments. Meet the Greyling, scientific name Hipparchia semele. The Greyling lives in dry and warm habitats, with easy access to the sun, which helps them with body temperature regulation. Greyling populations have recently begun to decline, and while it's not globally endangered, the species is now considered a priority for conservation efforts. The greyling is a species endemic to Europe and is found almost all over Europe and parts of western Russia. Often found in the sand dunes, salt marshes, under cliffs and cliff tops in the coastal regions and heathlands, limestone pavements, scree and brownfield lands in inland regions. Greylings are also known to inhabit old quarries, railway lines and industrial areas. Colonies typically develop around areas with little vegetation and bare open ground, with spots of shelter and sun to help them regulate their body temperature. Well, I guess that makes this area perfect, because as you could see in the video, it was full of bare open ground. There is one generation per year. The eggs are laid from July to September, singly, often on the food plant. The host plant of this species are grasses. Yes, another species of butterfly that feeds on grasses on my channel. Now you start to realize how important grasses can be for butterflies. When the eggs hatch, the caterpillar grows slowly, feeding at night and typically hibernating during cold temperatures in a deep patch of grass. The larvae are small and cream colored, and there are 4 molts. The first instar and second instar larvae feed in mid to late summer and then hibernate, while still small, in the third instar at the base of the tussock. Feeding then resumes in spring, and the last instar larvae are nocturnal, hiding in the base of grass tussocks during the day. These larval instars take place from August to June. And by June, the larva should be fully grown, and at this point the caterpillar spends most of its time basking in the sun on the bare ground or rocks. The larvae are attracted to muddy puddles and sap from tree trunks as well. When the time comes to pupate, the caterpillar spins a cocoon in the ground. Pupation happens in a cavity lined with silk below the surface of the ground. The pupa is unattached in an earth cell. The pupa stage lasts around 4 weeks. The pupa is formed from June to August, and the adult butterflies emerge in August. They feed on numerous types of grass, mostly from the Poaceae family, such as sheep's fescue, Festusa ovania, red fescue, Festusa rubra, Bristol band, Aglostis curtici, early hairgrass or Aera praecox, tufted hairgrass or Deschampia caspitosa, and more. Grasses are very important for many species of butterflies and moths. Hipparchia semele engages in cryptic coloring or camouflage that makes it difficult to see them when they are resting on the bare ground, tree trunks, rocks, etc. Their tan and brown colored wings help them conceal themselves. Usually at rest when not in flight, the butterflies keep their wings closed, with their forewings tucked in behind their hind wings. This helps them conceal their eye spots and makes them appear smaller, further helping them camouflage to their environment. In the Netherlands, this species is rapidly declining and disappearing from a number of places, and that's why I so badly wanted to film them. In fact, this butterfly is one of the main reasons I visited this area. I really wanted to have them on my channel. This crowdfunded YouTube channel raises awareness for rare and threatened species of butterflies to help their conservation. The reason they decline is often due to eutrophication and high levels of nitrogen in the environment produced by farmers. The biggest environmental threat in the Netherlands right now are farmers with livestock and the manure they produce, which pollutes the environment with nitrogen. Nitrogen causes particular species of plants to thrive in areas where the vegetation should be scarce. Too much nutrients can also be a bad thing for the environment in an ecosystem with many species that rely on the environment having a scarcity in nutrients instead. This species thrives in almost desert-like environments with scarce vegetation, and the species will decline in areas where the amount of vegetation increases. Too much plants is a bad thing for the butterfly that wants dry and open terrains. Grazing by herbivores that keeps the vegetation low is in fact beneficial for their conservation. They do also have a demand for nectar. Unsurprisingly, one of their favorite plants to drink nectar from is heather. The species often flies in heathlands and their flight time often coincides with the time the heather blooms. Often the butterflies can be observed nectaring from the flowers in the heather bushes. In fact, in Dutch this butterfly is called the heivlinder, which means the heather butterfly. The small heath butterfly, or Nympha pamphilus, is one you can spot in fields of heather too. The butterflies often sit close to the ground. The larval host plant are grasses found in various habitats, while adult butterflies feed on nectar from flowers. The males of this species are territorial, which plays a role in obtaining a female. It is widespread in colonies throughout the grasslands of Eurasia and northwestern Africa, providing drier habitats such as salt marshes, alpine meadows, wetlands and grasslands. This butterfly has several generations a year.
Wow, ladies and gentlemen, now I am impressed. This is not an environment you would typically expect in the Netherlands. It almost reminds me of a tundra. Just take a look at that. I said it before and I want to say it again. Thank you to Rob. It's because of Rob that this video was possible. Rob paid for our tent and a place to sleep at night, which makes it possible to travel further away from home than is normally possible for me to make a video, and that's why we visit these interesting places.
Wow, abandoned buildings! Time to do some urban exploring. Here's a fun fact. This whole area used to be dedicated to radio transmission and has several abandoned radio stations. These are abandoned radio shortwave transmitter stations. And these abandoned buildings were responsible for the radio connections between the Netherlands, Indonesia, Suriname and the United States and Japan too. They become obsolete in the 20th century due to new technology taking its place instead. So there was a whole radio park with several abandoned radio stations. And some of them are pretty spectacular. If you like abandoned places, consider visiting the Hoogbuurlose Heide. While abandoned, most of these empty radio stations were declared a national monument and are still being maintained to some degree by the government, so they are not 100% completely abandoned. Uh-oh, the windows were littered with dead insects. This thing is an insect death trap. The insects can get in, but they fail to get out. Now that's so unfortunate. And then I noticed something really sad. A dead, large tortoise shell, or Nymphalis polychloros. And I've actually never seen a live specimen of this butterfly. It's the first one that I've ever seen in the wild. And it appeared to be dead. It died inside the building and failed to get out, probably bashing itself to death against the windows. Now that sucks because the large tortoise shell is a very rare species here. with less than 5 butterflies being spotted per year in the Netherlands in some years. Yes, 5 butterflies per year. Let that sink in. That means it's truly a rarity that was sadly trapped behind a window. Now this is really jarring. Behind the windows of this abandoned building there's a lot of dead insects who were accidentally trapped inside and must have failed to escape. But what's really jarring is that it contains a very rare butterfly species that I have actually never seen alive before in the Netherlands. Nymphalis polychloros. And it is with regret that I announce that the first specimen of the Nymphalis polychloros that I see in the Netherlands is a dead one that was trapped in an abandoned building. That is disheartening. And here an old abandoned building that was owned by the forestry department at some point.
Een raaf. Ja, ver in de verte ook een raaf.
Wow, ladies and gentlemen, what beautiful surroundings. I'm really thankful we could capture this on camera. Soon we are about to arrive at our final destination, an abandoned radio station called Radio Kootwijk. Let's go! Well, there it is, ladies and gentlemen, in the distance. Can you see it? Nee toch, ben je gek?
Elke dag.
Wow. No, that's weird. This place has weird vibes for sure. Maar hier ook. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, this is what it's all about. Behind me in the middle of nowhere, there is an abandoned radio station. It is called Radio Kootwijk, and it's one of the main things that I wanted to show you today on YouTube. A bit of cultural history. I know my videos are usually about nature, but I thought this was interesting considering we were in the area as well. It's an unusual building, isn't it? Very weird. Anyway, maybe you would appreciate it if I tell you some facts about it. At the start of the 20th century, The Netherlands was a trading operation with extensive overseas territories. Its interests were served by a quick connection to the colonies, especially the Dutch East Indies. Direct communication took place by way of electric telegrams, which required cable connections. Prior to this, the Netherlands was dependent on England and Germany. When the First World War broke out, the disadvantages of this dependence increased. In 1918, the government decided to release their own international communication network, independent of the neighboring countries. After much political debate, it was decided to build a long-wave transmission station enabling permanent contact with the Dutch East Indies using radio telegraphs. In 1923, the radio station became operational. The transmitter played an important role in the 20th century as communication facility between the Netherlands and its then colony of the Dutch East Indies. The former radio station Radio Kootwijk is situated in the heart of the Veluwe, centered in a wonderful natural reserve area. It's a unique establishment that is highly valued for its typical blend of scenery with cultural, historical and industrial historical characteristics. During its operational history, it has also supported maritime communications and even German military operations during the occupation of the Netherlands by Germany in World War II. However, as new technology came out, slowly and gradually, the radio station became obsolete. In 2004, the park lost its last transmitter functions and was transferred to the KPN company from the KPN company to the State Forestry Service. And since then it has been more or less abandoned, although it still attracts many tourists, and sometimes it's even possible to take a look inside if you book a paid tour. So I guess it's not that abandoned. It was also declared a national monument and is being maintained so it doesn't fall into disrepair. Cool, huh? The design of this abandoned radio station is pretty unique. It reminds me of brutalism. Honeybees? Curiously, it looks like a colony of wild honeybees or Apis mellifera has made their home in the vents of the abandoned radio station of Radio Kootwijk. Honeybees are a managed species, but sometimes their appearance can be wild. Sadly though, honeybees are mostly bad for the environment since humans farm too many of them. But it's interesting to see wild colonies here.
Life finds a way. Do you guys see here that's the sand along the pavement? This is also the work of an interesting insect. Let me show you.
Meet the bee wolf. These are killers and the honeybee's worst nightmare. Philanthus triangulatum, or commonly known as the European bee wolf, the bee killer wasp, is a solitary wasp found in parts of Europe up to parts of Asia, and they more or less exclusively hunt honeybees. The European bee wolf is mainly found in areas of open sandy ground in areas such as lowland, heathland and coastal dunes. Female European bee wolves excavate their burrows in sandy soil or in vertical soil faces in open sunny habitats, and these can be up a meter in length with no less than 3 and as many as 34 short side tunnels at the end, each of which contains a brood cell. The material displaced by the burrowing wasp is flicked behind it as it excavates the nest. They nest in aggregations, which have as many as 15,000 burrows. Females hunt honeybees or Apis mellifera, which are paralyzed with the stinger. The female then carries the immobilized honeybee to the nest in flight between the wasp's legs. Upon reaching the nest, she hovers over the entrance before slowly descending into the burrow. Each brood cell is provisioned between 1 and 5 honeybees for the larva. Each female may collect up to 100 bees during its flight period. So truly this is an advanced honeybee killer. Oh, and did I tell you that they also open the stomachs of the bees in order to drink the honey from the dead bees? That's pretty hardcore. This species is obviously taking advantage of the fact there were so many wild honeybees living in the ventilation ducts of the abandoned radio station. It's good to see that at least some species still profit from the presence of honeybees, I suppose, considering the harmful and negative impact of honeybees on the environment overall. So there you go, the bee wolf, ladies and gentlemen. Wow. And that was about it, ladies and gentlemen. It was a long video and I really hope you enjoyed it. It was special and it was made possible only because of a fan who paid for a place to sleep. The whole trip was paid for by one very loyal fan, which I'm thankful for since the channel is demonetized. So finally me and my friend were slowly heading back home. It has been a fun and interesting day and I really hope you enjoyed this special video. And well, let's go back home, and after 2 days of amazing wildlife and insects, I hope to see you all again in my next upload, I suppose. Do you have a suggestion of what part of the Netherlands you want to see? Write it in the comments and I may consider going there.
And I'm about to go home. That was it, ladies and gentlemen.
Wow, ladies and gentlemen, and I am finally back home. It's good to be back after so much walking. We're going to end the episode soon, but there's one more thing that I really have to bring up. If you liked this video and if you enjoyed watching it, if you learned new things, consider donating to my channel, because my channel is completely demonetized by YouTube. Whenever I make a video like this and upload it, I don't make a single dollar from it from YouTube. All the money I make from YouTube is the budget that I use to make cooler and awesome videos. But I don't get anything from YouTube. This channel is 100% and completely crowdfunded. That means that when people like my videos, they see my videos and they really enjoy it, they tip me. It's almost like tipping a waiter at a restaurant, like, thank you for your service. Of course, I don't expect everybody to do this. And not donating does, of course, not make you less of a viewer. I appreciate everybody who watches my videos. But I really have to remind people after every video, because I make a crazy amount of effort. I travel the country, I literally sleep in a tent, just to show people on my channel cool butterflies on the other part of the country. And it costs so much time, it costs so much effort, and it's really hard to do it alone with financial support. Without the crowdfunding and donations people give me, it would be impossible to make videos like this, and I would have to quit making content like this for this channel. It's simply too much effort for me to do alone. And the only reason this video was possible, because a fan basically paid for my trip. A fan of mine, we all know him by the name of Rob. He's a little bit anonymous, but he's a big fan of my channel. He believes in our mission, he believes in the environment, and he's helping invest in the production of special videos. Thank you, Rob, if you're watching this. I hope you enjoyed it as well. But yes, and the good news is if you subscribe to my crowdfunding platform Patreon, you'll get some benefits. For example, Patreon has a new feature where it sends people merchandise. So people in certain tiers who donated to my channel can now receive mugs. They can receive stickers. They can receive posters that I have custom made myself. There's like my own pictures of butterflies and moths on them. So the main reason people would subscribe to my Patreon is to support the show because they like watching my channel and they want to see it continue in the future. But it's a nice bonus if you get benefits like mugs, stickers, posters with cool butterflies and moths on them. So that's a win-win situation, isn't it? It's also possible to donate with PayPal, LiberaPay. There's many options in the description of this video. I apologize for e-bagging. I really have to do it. There's no company sponsoring me. No one really has my back except me. I'm doing this all myself without being compensated for it, except for the contributions that my viewers give me. So if you like the show, consider donating. Otherwise, thank you for watching and hope to see you in the next video. Bye bye, I hope you loved it.
Yo, yo, yo. The people who are already subscribed to my Patreon are now eligible for awesome custom-made rewards that have designs with moths on them. I made them entirely myself. So if you aren't part of my Patreon yet, you are missing out. Become a patron and receive mugs, stickers, posters and t-shirts with your own art and designs on them. Not only will you be supporting my channel with your donations, but in return you are earning some awesome rewards that were made by Bart Coppens himself. Help support my channel and receive awesome butterfly and moth items, a win-win situation.